To escape political dread and doom scrolling on Inauguration Day weekend earlier this year, my wife and I went looking for hope. We found it riding the light rail, taking a new bus rapid transit line, and biking our kids through the snow on some great bikeways in Minneapolis. Look, it's been a discouraging several months for people who care about transit and urbanism. With the grim political news from Washington and the many transit systems facing fiscal cliffs, it can be hard to stay motivated. But that trip to Minneapolis, it worked. It reminded me that no matter what the garbage that comes out of Washington over the next few years, there is great work that is still happening and still possible in our cities and states. What's happening in the cities across the Midwest is proof that while transit and urbanism face a challenging few years ahead, there is still good work happening, progress to celebrate, and reason to be hopeful. Welcome to Heartland Urbanist. Let's dig in. I'm Matt Caffrey, a dad and an organizer in Columbus, Ohio. If you want to see more about how Midwestern cities are making progress despite the headwinds, be sure to subscribe. Today, we're going to push back against the doom with a list of 13 specific concrete examples of progress from across the Midwest. These aren't just vague concepts or promises, they are funded projects, new laws, and real infrastructure that offers credible reason for hope. We're kicking off our list in Chicago, Illinois, the honorary capital of the Midwest, and the undisputed heart of Midwestern urbanism. But recent news about transit in particular has been a bit grim, with a $770 million budget shortfall caused by expiring federal support. They're talking about as much as 40% service reductions on the L, buses, and commuter rail starting next year. To distract us from that horror, let's talk about the expansion and improvement plans that are in the works. First, CTA is nearing completion on its massive red-purple improvement project, with greatly improved and expanded stations opening, capacity increased, and reliability improved. At the same time, they're expected to break ground on an extension of the Red Line next year. And all throughout this year, they've been adding new high-frequency bus lines. By the end of the year, they'll have doubled the number of Chicagoans who live within a half mile of a high-frequency bus route to 70%. That's all pretty real progress, but of course, it's all at risk. If you live in Illinois, take action by writing your state legislators. Link in description. Indianapolis is methodically building out a full, color-coded bus rapid transit network. During my city visit to Indianapolis, we rode the Red Line BRT, which was very impressive. Segments that are interlined have headways of just 7 to 10 minutes. The Purple Line opened in late 2024, and now the 24-mile Blue Line, a critical east-west connector linking the airport with downtown, has reached 100% design completion. Construction started in June, and it's scheduled to open in 2028. What makes this even more notable is their commitment to a zero-emissions fleet. The Blue Line project includes the purchase of 20 new 60-foot battery-electric articulated buses, like the red and purple lines used today. This is a major investment in clean technology that positions Indy as a regional leader in zero-emissions transit. Number 11 is one of the most powerful stories of reparative urbanism in the country. In Detroit, they're literally tearing down a freeway to heal a historic wound. The I-375 Reconnecting Communities project will remove a 1-mile below-grade freeway that was rammed through the heart of Black Bottom, a thriving Black neighborhood in the 1960s. The freeway will be replaced with a slower, at-grade urban boulevard, reconnecting the street grid and opening up acres of land for new development that can serve the community. While work was initially set to begin this year, right as this video was being produced, news broke that the Michigan Department of Transportation is delaying the project to improve the plan based on community feedback, largely centered on pedestrian safety on the new boulevard. Hopefully, this revised plan will go further to restore the community. This is an opportunity to have a landmark effort to address historic injustice and build a more connected city. We'll have to see how this revised plan comes together, and I hope other cities are taking note. For our number 10 spot, we'll head to the Quad Cities. For decades, a rail line has cut downtown Davenport, Iowa off from its greatest asset, the Mississippi River. But that's about to change. In December 2024, the city approved the Main Street Landing Project, a 10-acre, 4-season park that will reconnect the city to its riverfront. It includes a pedestrian bridge to provide safe access over the tracks, a signature play tower, an interactive water feature, and a multi-use space that will be a sandy beach in the summer and an ice rink in the winter. Construction breaks ground this spring, turning a barrier into a regional destination. And And thanks to the progress we'll discuss next, the Quad Cities could soon have a new passenger rail connection to Chicago. For our ninth win, we're zooming out to the entire region. As you may have seen in my last video, the Midwest is on the brink of a passenger rail revolution. Plans are underway for new service and better connections between cities all over the Midwest, like the 3C&D connecting Cleveland, Columbus, Dayton, and Cincinnati by rail for the first time in generations, and bringing passenger rail back to Columbus for the first time since 1979. We are already seeing the early fruits of this work with the successful launch of the state-supported Borealis train between St. Paul, Milwaukee, and Chicago. Ridership in the first year was 60% over projections, proving the demand is there. As I discussed in the last video, the politics of this issue have changed a lot, with both broad public support and the business community on board. There's real reason to believe that the progress underway is unstoppable. Check out that video for more. Our number 8 spot goes to a city that is bucking the national trend of transit ridership that's slow to return to pre-pandemic levels: Cincinnati. While transit agencies across the country are struggling to win back riders, Cincinnati's metro ridership is at 117% of pre-pandemic levels. After voters approved a sales tax in 2020, the Reinventing Metro plan focused on the basics of good service. They added 7 24-hour routes, created new crosstown connections so riders didn't have to travel downtown just to transfer, and dramatically improved frequency across the system. It proves a simple, powerful truth. If you provide frequent, reliable, and useful transit, people will ride it. The plan doesn't stop there. In February, Metro announced Metro Rapid, a new bus rapid transit system, initially with 2 lines scheduled to open in 2027 and 2028. The system will have dedicated lanes, signal priority, level boarding, off-board payment, larger vehicles, wider stop spacing, the works. At number 7, St. Louis is building a whole network for people. Through its Friendly Streets initiative, the city is investing over $300 million to systemically reclaim its streets for walking and biking. The crown jewel are 2 new paths: the Tower Grove Connector and the Brickline Greenway, a 2.5-mile bikeway and 10-mile mixed-use path, respectively, that will eventually link the city's most iconic spots, from the Gateway Arch to Forest Park. But it's more than just those trails. In 2025 alone, construction is scheduled to start on 4 other major projected cycle tracks on South Broadway, 20th Street, Tucker Boulevard, and Deer Creek. The plan also includes improved crosswalks, bump outs, traffic calming, and more. It seems that the city is serious about creating safe, enjoyable, and connected routes for active transportation, and they're backing it up with other policy changes, like passing zoning reform in 2024 to encourage more housing and development along key corridors, including their proposed Green Line light rail line, which is currently stalled but will hopefully be moving forward again soon. Number 6 takes us to Cleveland, which is getting serious about street safety. In 2025, the city adopted its Cleveland Moves plan, an ambitious 5-year strategy to make getting around the city safer for everyone. Instead of just reacting to crashes with one-off projects, they've made a proactive commitment. They're modifying signal timing on 5 corridors a year over the next 3 years to give pedestrians a head start, called a leading pedestrian interval, incorporating road diets into all street resurfacing projects, and they have an ambitious goal to build 50 miles of high-comfort bikeways starting this year and wrapping up by 2028. This is the hard and unglamorous work of changing institutional practice to prioritize safety, not just high speeds for drivers. And like zoning, this doesn't cost a ton. It can be incorporated into projects that are already going to happen anyway. Also worth noting, Cleveland is moving forward with its next bus rapid transit line, a north-south line on Cleveland's west side, expected to open in 2027. Let's head to Grand Rapids, Michigan for number 5. In April 2024, facing a need for over 14,000 new homes by 2027, the City Commission passed a sweeping pro-housing zoning package. They legalized accessory dwelling units, or ADUs, citywide, and eliminated parking requirements for them. That piece is really important. The need to add off-street parking is a common blocker that prevents people from adding an ADU simply because there isn't space. They also made it legal to build up to 6 units by right on key streets. All of this is part of a broader strategic plan adopted in 2022, which encourages density along transit routes and much more. Again, zoning reforms don't require billions in federal funding. This is real progress we can make now, and Grand Rapids is getting a great start. Next up, we discuss how Kansas City is massively expanding its streetcar and working to fix the transit mistake they and many other cities made over the last 20 years. Most streetcars built in the last 20 years have been more focused on economic development than actual transit service. So they run in mixed traffic. They get stuck in the same congestion as cars or buses, making them slow and unreliable, with the added challenge of being less flexible. If you've taken these systems, you've likely been delayed by a car that stalled or parked over the line and had to be towed. Kansas City is addressing this problem head-on with its Main Street extension, opening in October. It will be running on transit-only lanes for more than 60% of the new route. These lanes, marked with red paint and enforced with fines, are for streetcars and buses only. This is pragmatic, intelligent, and long overdue, a move that prioritizes reliability and shows they've learned from their mistakes. It's a commitment to making sure that this generational investment actually provides high-quality service. An additional expansion to the riverfront will open in 2028. Between the two extensions, the system will triple in size and serve critical new destinations, including the University of Missouri, Kansas City. It's really cool to see one of these systems transforming from sort of like a tourist circulator into real transit, both through extensions and better design. Number 3 is Madison, Wisconsin, which is tackling one of the biggest drivers of the affordability crisis, restrictive zoning. In July of 2025, the Madison Common Council unanimously approved its Housing Forward proposals. These reforms legalize the construction of duplexes and two-flats on most residential lots, where only single-family homes were allowed before. They also make it easier for homeowners to split their property and build small backyard lots, creating more opportunities for gentle density and more affordable paths to homeownership. We've seen these reforms work well in other states, and it's great to see them in Madison, which has been growing rapidly. Madison also recently opened a true and excellent new bus rapid transit line late last year. Because Madison's downtown is on an isthmus between two lakes, it's a nearly ideal setting for higher order transit. So this east-west line running right through the isthmus is a great start. It uses dedicated lanes, central stations spaced a half-mile apart, all-door boarding, and off-board payments, the works. And one portion even runs along a pedestrian-only street. How European! They plan to open a second BRT running north-south, but interlining through the busiest parts of downtown in 2028. Paired together, zoning allowing for denser housing and a new BRT network go a long way towards allowing Madison to continue to grow without harmful traffic and sprawl. That brings us back to where we started, Minneapolis. The Twin Cities are a perfect example of the flywheel of progress. They build great transit, which proves the concept, which builds support to build even more. The new Metro Gold Line BRT opened in March, connecting St. Paul to its eastern suburbs. And even before the first bus had run, the project had already sparked over $500 million of new investment along the corridor. This includes 2,300 new homes, and an incredible 94% of them are designated as affordable. This is the gold standard, linking transit investment directly to housing people can actually afford. They are building on the Twin Cities' strengths. They have a bold transit expansion plan. In addition to the new Gold Line BRT, 2 BRT light lines are opening this year, with an additional BRT and 6 more BRT light lines planned to open by 2035. And both light rail lines are also being extended, with the Green Line extension scheduled to open in 2027. Beyond that, the Twin Cities has world-class parks, incredible bike infrastructure, and some of the best housing and zoning policy in the nation that is actually bringing housing costs down. And the number one reason for hope in the Midwest is right here in my hometown of Columbus, Ohio. In November 2024, while the national news was pretty bleak, Central Ohio voters supported a massive transit expansion by a huge margin. The Linkus Initiative will fund 5 new bus rapid transit corridors with dedicated center-running lanes, increase bus service by 40%, and build hundreds of miles of new sidewalks and trails. And they're pairing it with Zone In, the city's first comprehensive zoning update in 70 years, to allow more housing and mixed-use buildings along these new transit corridors, as well as ADUs citywide. There are also bold plans for new pedestrian spaces, like the new Capitol Line, and even an e-bike subsidy pilot to help more people break up with their cars. As far as I'm aware, this is the most holistic, integrated vision for growth in the country, and it's happening right here. Look, we have a long way to go. Columbus is incredibly car-dominated today, but it also has incredible potential, and it is showing the political will to get there. So that's our countdown. Is everything perfect? No, of course not. The transit fiscal cliffs bearing down on so many cities are scary. As discussed, Chicago is facing a $770 million budget gap in 2026. Nearby Louisville and Pittsburgh are also facing unthinkable cuts, so the political and fiscal headwinds are strong. But that's what makes these 13 stories so powerful. This isn't progress that's happening because things are easy. It's happening despite the fact that things are hard. It's happening because local leaders, planners, advocates, and voters are making the tough, pragmatic choices to invest in a better future for our cities. And this progress is durable. A new BRT line, a rezoned corridor, a removed freeway, these are changes that will last for generations. They're the foundation we can build on, even as we fight to make things better in Washington and our state capitals. I really hope this video helped you find some reasons to feel hopeful. Look, the next few years are going to be a fight. Staying rooted in what's possible when we work together is part of how we fight back. And the best way to do that is to get involved. Find your local transit advocacy group or urbanist organization and join them. They're doing the hard work of organizing for better bus service, safer streets, and denser housing in your community. They need your voice, your time, and your support. That's how we'll emerge from this mess and make our cities better and more livable. So, what did I miss? What's giving you hope for progress in the Midwest? Or which of these projects are you most excited for? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please press the like button and share it with someone who needs some hope. Heartland Urbanist is also available ad-free on urbanists.video, a great open source community. Please go check it out. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.